We're 10 friends from Vancouver who wanted to keep our community together, but couldn't afford homeownership in the city. This is the story of how we bought a 4-acre property in Gibsons, BC, and are turning it into a 10-lot community with gardens, communal areas, and room for our growing families. And it's a story of how Vancity helped make it all possible. This is Building Together.
We heard from others in the group about this email that had gone around for a property listing saying, hey, does anyone want to go in on this project?
Imagine small homes, big open space, big community opportunity.
We also get severe FOMO, fear of missing out. So letting our friends do this without us seemed like something to do.
And basically that's where the project started. In 2017, we were just a group of 10 friends who shared the same simple goal of owning our own homes and living close to one another. We've been friends for a long time. A lot of us met through Engineers Without Borders while we were attending university.
What drew me to this group was a sense of openness, enthusiasm for life.
Ultimately, it led us to living together and really being witnesses to each other's lives as we went through all these different chapters. And along the way, on many of the group trips, we had conversations about this desire to find a way to keep this community together.
But just because we all shared this goal, it didn't mean it was easy to reach.
The housing market for both purchase and rent in Vancouver is a little bit bonkers. It's maybe it's a lot bonkers.
In our community, we were having a lot of conversations, as I think most people in Vancouver were in our age bracket, about how unaffordable the city was or how limited our prospects for any sort of real estate ownership felt. Because the reality is the affordability issues in Vancouver were a massive threat to our community. The most likely outcome was that everyone was going to go in slightly different directions.
And so we started trying to make some plans to avert that outcome so that we could maintain our community.
And we kind of came up with this idea that maybe we could try and do it together.
It started out as nothing but a dream. We'd get together and talk about how much we'd love to buy a lot, subdivide it, and create a community of small homes with communal space that we could share together. A community that was built by us and for us in a way that we could actually afford. And then, all of a sudden, our dream became very real very quickly.
So I remember getting the email, check this out, in my inbox.
My mom actually sent an email of a listing that was just up the road from where she and my dad live in Gibsons. And it was a 4-acre property for sale. She didn't ask me first. She just sent it to me and Kane and then a bunch of our friends that she had had her own conversations with.
And so I immediately picked up the phone and called Tess and I was like, yes, absolutely. We've talked about this, I'm in. Let's figure out how to make it happen.
I think it all came together very quickly. It seemed like relatively low financial risk because there would be a number of us getting involved.
So when we saw the listing, first about 5 of us went out at different moments to see the property, and the other 5 went on trust, which is pretty incredible.
The property needed a lot of work, but for us, it was perfect. We started putting together our offer, but there was just one minor detail standing in our way. Where were we going to get the money? Each of us had a different level of savings, financial risk tolerance, and mortgage eligibility. But together, we figured no problem. As a group of 10, we have a ton of borrowing power, right? Not necessarily.
And I went to some of the big banks, and their reaction was to basically laugh us out of the room. People aren't doing this type of development generally. We don't really fit into a specific box.
That's where Vancity came in. They have this offering called a mixer mortgage, which basically allows 2 or more people to buy property together, plus the legal and insurance support needed to protect everyone's best interests. In other words, Vancity had our backs. From finding financing to subdividing and rezoning to actually building our homes, we had a lot of hoops to jump through. So how could we make this happen? On the next episode of Building Together.
This is Colleen and Caitlin.
This is Lot 8. This is Andrew and Mickey.
We kind of took a look at the house and it looked a little run down on the outside.
Our focus was really on the existing house and making it as quickly as possible into a home for somebody.
I think The rentals are fairly straightforward. The rest of it is a lot more complex, right? You start from, we want to subdivide the property, to, okay, how do we actually accomplish that and who do we need to talk to?